Good evening, good evening. Michelle? You're on first. Welcome, everyone, to the Social Service Committee meeting for November the 22nd. Could I have approval of the previous meeting minutes? So moved. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? It's unanimous. Thank you, Commissioner Michelle McCray. Congratulations on your commissionership.
I appreciate it.
Number one item, authorizing an agreement with the Equinox Inc. regarding non-residential domestic violence services.
Yes, this is a companion to a request we made last month or 2 months ago, last month, for non-residential domestic violence services. It's a small contract, $25,000 contract for intensive intervention services for people that need help getting stabilized. Access to legal care, extra support, case management kinds of support to help people get into more permanent and safe situations. This is 100% federal funded.
That's always good to hear.
And $25,294.
Are there any questions or concerns from anyone? Do I hear a motion to accept? Motion's been made. Do I hear a second? Motion is seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? There's none. It's unanimous. Thank you, Commissioner McCray.
Happy Thanksgiving to all.
Happy Thanksgiving to you also. Okay.
Can I just ask the Commissioner a question before she leaves? No, it's kind of a current events question.
They're not parents. But go ahead. She'll come back to this. We don't like to do
Commissioner,
this.
in the news the other day, there was a situation in Gilderland with the Albany County Sheriff where someone who was taking care of a disabled individual was...
Not one of our providers.
He's already asked.
Okay, not one of our providers.
Right, it was a Schenectady-based provider who's not a service, it's a private.
It's like a private
Yeah.
agency? Okay.
It's not even an agency, really.
Yeah.
Actually, this is kind of inappropriate to discuss. Thanks a lot, Commissioner. I appreciate it. Yes, you don't apologize. You know that's inappropriate. The next item, number 2. Commissioner Gail Cokagan is here with her colleague. Okay. Number 2, authorizing agreement with the Bethlehem Police Department regarding a part-time law enforcement department enforcement coordinator for the Children's Advocate. We got another backup? Oh, another person's here, sorry. Advocacy Center.
Yes,
Mr. Bowie, thank you.
Good
Thank you,
evening, everyone.
Commissioner.
The department requests legislative approval for the addition of a part-time law enforcement coordinator to our Child Advocacy Center. Our Child Advocacy Center is where we facilitate investigations of sexual abuse and severe physical abuse. And that also involves our multidisciplinary team, which is representation of various stakeholders, including the law enforcement community. And really, we're looking at how to enhance that level of coordination between the members of the MDTR-CAC and engage in the law enforcement community. And so, with fundings that we have through the CAC grant, we have been able to look at utilizing some of that funds to have a law enforcement coordinator, really with the goal of being able to better engage with our law enforcement community. We feel that if we have someone in that role, they'll be able to help facilitate when there is a need, especially when we're talking about looking at investigations. Within the course of looking at augmenting the services, we did reach out to a few of the law enforcement communities in regards to this enhancement. The idea is, although we're starting with Bethlehem, that this is going to rotate throughout the various law enforcement agencies within the Albany County area. With Bethlehem, one of the benefits that we do have, starting off with having Mike Whiteley, is that he does sit on the statewide Juvenile Office Association. So again, that does lend itself to what our goal is in terms of why we're looking to add this.
Sounds good. Are there any other questions about this particular? Yes, Ms. Lockhart.
I know Detective Whiteley's good name. Is he gonna be doing part-time with at the CAC, like he's full-time with Bethlehem. How's it actually gonna work, you know?
I will be quite honest that we are still working out the details of that, because we certainly do recognize that he is employed fully with Bethlehem PD. So it's the idea of looking at how many hours and what that would look like and what it would entail. So I will be honest.
It's above and beyond his duties there.
Yes.
Okay, it would be a part-time job to somebody.
Exactly.
At this point, it looks like Bethlehem.
Exactly. Right, and it may not be specifically him, it's with
Right.
Bethlehem, so it may be him, it may be someone else.
Right.
But I will tell you that the level of those details, we're still fleshing out.
And I know you've been very active with the CAC.
Yes, with the CIC, with the Juvenile Justice Steering Committee, so, in various capacities.
Good, thank you.
Any other questions? Do I hear a motion? Motion, and I hear a second. Motion and second, all in favor? Aye. In opposition? Hearing none, it's unanimous. Number 3, authorize an agreement with Samaritan's Shelters, Inc. regarding a non-secure detention services.
Yes, thank you. So an RFP was issued in July of this year for our non-secure detention services as we were at the end of a 3-year grant cycle. We had 2 proposers, Berkshire as well as Samaritan, that submitted proposals. Upon review of both proposals submitted, it was deemed that the proposal that was submitted by Berkshire did not meet the scope of services that were outlined within the RFP because it did call for programming distinct and separate for the male and female population. So based on that and the overall scoring, the recommendation is for the award to go to Samaritan, who is the current holder of the contract. There is a need for the non-secured services based on when we do have youths that do interface with the juvenile justice system who may be in need of non-secure placement for a period of time pending resolution on their matter.
Any questions?
Are these relatively short-term stays? with
That is the goal, yes.
About, can you give me a range?
Short term.
About 5 to 7 days.
5 to 7 days, okay. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes, Mr. Bullock?
I know where Berkshire is, where's Samaritan?
Samaritan is Glenmont?
Glenmont, New York.
Whereabouts?
Oh gosh, I want to, over by the intersection, okay, so this is me talking now, where the Marshalls, That is my frame of reference.
It is River Road.
River Road in Glenmont, New York. Okay, near Marshalls. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Mr. Bullock. Any more questions? Do I hear a motion? Motion's made. Do I hear a second? Seconded. All in favor? Any opposition? Hearing none, it's unanimous. Thank you. Number 4, amending 2016 Department for Children, Youth, and Families budget increases the cost for the children in need of foster care.
Yes, so this is for our emergency aid to families line, and, unfortunately, it's reflective of the increased number of foster care placements that we've had this year. Unfortunately, this is not just isolated to Albany County, it is actually a statewide phenomenon that is occurring in terms of the increased number of placements. This being due to substance use, part of that being the opioid epidemic, as well as we're seeing just an increased complexity in terms of the youth that are interfacing with our system, including those with serious mental health concerns, as well as just increased behavioral concerns, and seeing that there is a gap right now in how to be able to maintain them in the community without necessarily having to escalate to the point of needing foster care intervention. So I will say that is something I was just on a webinar that was hosted by OCFS, and I will say that is definitely an area that is getting considerable attention in regards to how to be able to have, increase programs and services that would really mitigate and hopefully start to trend back down in terms of the numbers of foster care placements. But I will say that, you know, we have been kind of taken some success, if you will, in keeping our numbers under the 200 mark. And I will say within the last week, we have unfortunately broken that barrier in terms of the numbers of youth currently in placement in Albany County. So again, it's a statewide phenom, and, you know, there's a lot of focus on that right now, but it's just the perfect storm, if you will.
Okay. Do I hear any questions? Mr. Burke?
Just a question, Commissioner. So if there's an increase in $1 million in expenditure because we have a 7% cost of the county, it would basically be $70,000 for the county. Is that correct? If we're going from $1.3 million and you're saying your need is $2.3 million, and you're asking for an increase in the approval of $1 million.
Yeah, the share of the county on that is $70,000. I would actually have to look up the other side of that because we decreased an expenditure line in, I believe it was adoption, as the offset on that. So I don't know offhand what the county share percentage of that would be.
Okay.
Because it would be the net of those two.
Okay, thank you.
I believe it's a low county share as well.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions?
I need a motion.
The motion, so his second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, that's unanimous. Amending the 2016 budget for children, youth, and families, increased placement costs for children with special educational needs.
Oh, yes, sorry, I was out of order. So, yes, we're requesting legislation to, again, increase our funding as it pertains to the Committee for Special Education Placements. This is an area, again, where we're seeing an increased number of children that are receiving placements for CSE programming. It is not something that we have a lot of control over. The school districts are the ones who make that determination for those youths that they've decided that they are not able to program for within their districts, and so that they do need to be placed. And the county is responsible for the room and board for these youths. Additionally, some of these costs for the room and board can range as much as $600 per night. We also don't know how to anticipate how many youth are going to come for placement because it's not a predetermined number, and we don't always know ahead of time, as the school districts themselves don't always know ahead of time which youth are going to end up in need of these placements. So as a result of that, we had 3 additional youth that came to our attention this year. And then we also had another youth that came in mid-year. So again, unanticipated costs, if you will, and that has impacted the need to request an amendment to increase the line.
Are any other questions or concerns? Yes, Ms. Lockhart.
Just for clarification, Commissioner, when you're saying placement, they're placed in another district, but they also might house, right?
Exactly that they're actually out of their home district and they're placed in a facility. And those facilities can be in-state, they can also be out-of-state. And we have no control also over the cost of those facilities. Sometimes we may not know what the cost is until we actually get the bill, because even within those facilities, depending on the level of need of that youth is what's going to determine what the rate is going to be. So you can have a facility that will have 3 or 4 different rates depending on the level of need that has been determined for that youth. And oftentimes we don't know that until we actually get that bill.
Wow.
Thank you, Commissioner.
You have another question here.
Special needs in Albany, the city of, you have any idea how much the increase that is? For, your placement in the city of Albany for children with special needs?
I want to make sure I'm answering your question, because there is the list of the youth that are currently in placement. So if you're asking specifically the city of Albany, there's 1, 2 for the city of Albany. That's it for the city of Albany. If we go through, there's 1, 2, 3 for Bethlehem, There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for Guilderland. South Colony has 3. And North Colony has 2. And Voorheesville has 1.
BKW.
And thank you, BKW has 1, Rosina, Queeman, Selkirk, RCS has 1. So,
But for Albany, the number 2, would that be an increase?
no, actually, that would not. And if you look at the size of the Albany City School District in comparison to the size of other districts, in terms of having 2 as a census, that's actually low.
It is low, that's what I thought. What, has it previously been?
Albany has gone as high as 4 on recent past, but their numbers tend to be in this 2 to 4 range.
Thank you.
Ms. Lockhart, you had a question too.
Just another, does the school district of origin where the child originally reside, and they say they can't handle this child order, do they contribute, or do we just pay all of it?
Oh, no. They also have to contribute, actually, 40%.
Okay.
40%.
They are also responsible for, because they're still responsible for the educational
Right.
part of the
Okay.
programming.
Any other questions? Any other concerns? Do I hear a motion? Motion was made. Do I hear a second? It's been seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Hearing none, it's unanimous. Okay, number 6, amended the 2016 Department of Children, Youth, and Family Services budget. Increased costs of transportation and children with special needs.
Okay, so there's a theme here.
Yes.
So additionally, we are seeing an increase in the number of children that are actually receiving preschool-related services. And so in conjunction, that has correlated to an increase in the transportation costs for transporting these youths to programming. And so that accounts for the request and the need to be, to increase the appropriation in our transportation line. We actually went from 150 youth, and now we're up close to 200. So we've seen a significant increase in the number of youth that are even receiving preschool-related services at this point in time.
Any questions? Did you have a question, Mr. Bullock? No? Okay, I thought I heard a question.
Yeah.
Do I hear a vote?
I make a motion.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Hearing none, it's unanimous. Number 7, that's not even you, Gail. I'm sorry. I thought I was done. You are done. And happy Thanksgiving to you and your team. Well, Larry, I was trying to give you a work to Gail. I'm sorry. Yeah, the nursing home director's up now for number 7. Okay, authorize an agreement with the Zemic Healthcare Services Group regarding case management review services at the nursing home.
Correct.
Thank you,
This
Larry.
company was, been at the nursing home for a few years now. We're asking to enter into a second year of a 3-year possible contract with Zimit Healthcare.
Zimit.
They're the company that educates and works with our clinical staff to make sure that the minimum data set, that's the information collected that shows how much care is being delivered to a resident, that ultimately, when they put it all together, becomes our case mix index and establishes our Medicaid rates. So they've been extremely successful in working with us. Since they've been there, our case mix has risen from 0.77 to 1.02. Approximately 1.02, which means 25%. Our Medicaid rate, since they have joined us, has increased, and it's not all contributed to their work, it's also our work and admitting a higher acuity resident from $175 a day to $225 a day, which is approximately $3 million a year in revenue. So they're having a major impact on our revenue. Of course, there's other factors. It's not only Zimit, but that they're a large contributor to that increase in rate.
Okay. Any questions about the Zimic Healthcare Services Group? No questions? Can I hear a motion? Motion's made, it's seconded, and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Hearing none, it's unanimous.
Okay,
I
thank
think
you.
that's it. Thank you for coming down, and happy Thanksgiving to you, sir. And everyone, happy Thanksgiving to all, all right? Okay. Motion to adjourn. Motion's made, and the second, all in favor? Aye. Thank you.